The Good Liars.
The Good Liars?
This is boring.
We're boring.
I will die standing in my boots.
Herschel, I got you some condoms.
What made everyone so weird and sad that they had to come out here?
Mr. President, welcome to the show.
We are the Good Liars, and we are going to tell the truth. Trust us. Welcome to the Good Liars Tell the Truth. I am Jason Selvig.
And I'm DeVrom Stiefler, and we are the Good Liars.
And we may be the Good Liars, but on this show, we are going to tell you the truth. And today, we are going to tell you the truth about this Trump trial that's going on in Manhattan. I don't know if you've heard about this, but the former president is on trial right now. Criminal trial.
Oh, my word.
It's big news.
I've heard a little bit about it. I can't imagine there's any big news coming out of it. He's probably behaving himself. Everything's probably going as it should.
Interesting take there, DeVrom. Interesting take. But before we get into it, we want to remind you, you can support us on Hero Hero for $5 a month, herohero.co/thegoodliars. Get extended ad-free episodes with a bonus episode. We also want to say we've got some live shows coming up May 23rd in Washington, D.C., June 6th in Nashville, June 25th in L.A., and June 26th in San Francisco. And you can get tickets in the description here, or you can go to goodliars.com. But DeVrom, let's dive into it. Let's get to the truth. Let's talk about Donald Trump's criminal trial. Donald Trump's first criminal trial is underway in New York City, which is terrible news for the former president, but it's great news for the Good Liars because we live in New York City and we can easily make it to Lower Manhattan to observe the circus there.
So should we extend a thank you to Donald Trump real quick for giving us a news story that's not too far away from our front doors?
I guess so, yeah.
We have to travel to a lot of these rallies. Now we get to just hop on the subway and see what's going on down there.
Are you going to just say thank you, or is it?
I'm asking if we should, or you think that would be
I said okay.
Proper, improper.
I don't want to be the one to do it, but you can do it.
Thank you for just making things a little more convenient for us, just for a little while anyway. So thanks for that.
And Donald Trump, he is upset about the trial, obviously, but he also seems to be upset at the lack of supporters who have shown up to wave flags with Trump's face on them and potentially intimidate the media and the prosecution. And Donald Trump, he called for a mass protest outside the court on Monday. According to the New York Times, shortly after 7 a.m. on Monday, he posted on his social media website, Truth, that, quote, America-loving protesters should be allowed to protest at the front steps of the courthouse. And he followed this lament with a call for his supporters to, and this is all caps, as you can imagine Donald Trump doing,
right.
Go out and peacefully protest. Rally behind MAGA. Save our country! Exclamation point.
There's nothing that's going to help your case more than invoking January 6th at your trial. It's like, we want, America deserves a mob of people on the steps of the courthouse. This is what America deserves. Fight for your freedom. Like, it's all the same. He's doing the same thing again.
Has
I can't imagine helps him
bad
out.
ever happened when my supporters were on the steps of a government building? Like, I can't think of one.
Is this reminding you of anything that would make you not want this to happen?
It's funny though, because like Donald Trump, when he says peacefully protest, like he said that on January 6th when it obviously wasn't a peaceful protest. Like, is that a code word? Is peaceful a code for violent? Like, is it?
It's starting to. You're onto something. It's starting to be like, I can say this, but we all know what I really mean a little bit.
Yeah, nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Peaceful. And on Tuesday, when Trump headed into court, he complained that the police weren't allowing his protesters to get close so they could protest, or his supporters, I should say. This is I gotta pull it up here. This is him complaining on Tuesday morning.
For great Americans, people that want to come down and they want to protest at the court and they want to protest peacefully, we have more police presence here than anyone's ever seen. For blocks, you can't get near this courthouse.
For blocks, you can't even get near the protests. DeVrom,
what were you doing yesterday morning?
that's a great segue, DeVrom. We went to the courthouse yesterday morning, and we also went down last Monday, and we want to talk about this really, really quick. Last Monday, there was a protest there, meaning Laura Loomer was there with a bullhorn, and they were a group of about 15 to 20. Maybe that's being generous because some of them were just like trolls acting like they were Trump supporters with MAGA hats on. But
I know, we're always trying to
20.
get to the actual numbers, but if you want to call it 15 or 20, and we said, I think that day, we were like, I think a third of these people are not who they're pretending to be. We don't judge them for that, but they're there. They're trying to participate.
If you're in a glass house, you don't throw the stones. Exactly. Yeah.
But I guess the point being, yes, 15 to 20 is generous. Always trying to parse through the numbers here. Probably closer to 10, but fine. We'll give them 15 to 20. But I think you're going to get to the fact that it was a little different than a week later.
Yeah. So he wrote that truth. Is that what you call him on Truth Social? You're writing a truth.
I think
is that it?
You call him
Oh, good. Thank you, DeVrom. It's like we really started this like it's a newsy podcast. We're like getting to some facts here.
Absurd to have to say. He truthed out on Truth Social. It's just
I agree.
It's hard to say with a straight face. So sorry about that.
Sorry about the fart noise. Okay.
Yeah.
We can add some more sound effects in here, some more fart noises.
Yeah.
Maybe some burps too. I don't know. I'll let you do the sound design here.
Sure.
So we went. So he put this out on Monday. He wanted people out there to protest, and we went down there. We went down there on Monday, and this is what we saw. Because Donald Trump, he's calling for a lot of people to come, and here's what we saw on Monday morning.
Donald Trump said that a lot of people are going to come here to support him. We're going to take a look, see how many people are here. We're expecting there to be a lot of Trump supporters here
Just a lot
today.
of people, right?
Yeah.
It's a big day.
We are here outside the day 5 of the Trump hush money trial here, and there are twos of supporters here of Donald Trump. 1, 2 supporters here supporting Donald Trump. Big turnout, as we were expecting. As Donald Trump promised, there'd be a lot
of people here to show their support. So 1, 2.
Oh wait, sorry, 3.
3.
That guy's a support too?
Him too. So 3 and 4.
4. 4?
4.
How many are there? 4? 5?
1, 2,
5.
3, 4, 5.
5.
Is that a good compromise though? 5.
Yeah, we need to change our previous statement. There are not just 2 Trump supporters here. Apparently there are 5.
5 Trump supporters.
So it's massive turnout.
Honestly, I see 4, but I'm willing to compromise a little bit on it.
I see the 3, and maybe that is 4. But
Yeah.
I think that guy is. I don't think he's Trump supporter. He's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
Massive.
Well, the problem is they're not allowed in the park, except that they are, and we were, and they were, and that was the scene.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny, like, because if you're a Trump supporter and you're getting your news from Truth Social, from Donald Trump, if he is your news source, I can't imagine you being less well informed. Because it's just like his reality that he's trying to like put onto the world.
I thought as like everyone, has a phone that it has a camera on it. Everyone now is on social media and broadcasting their lives. I guess I thought there would be, in some way, there would be more easy access to truth. You know what I mean? Like you could be there. You could live stream being there.
Are you talking about truth, like Truth Social, like fart noise truth? Okay.
I am not talking about fart noise social. I'm talking about like, in some ways, obviously spreading misinformation. We know that that's become easier in a lot of ways, but also something as simple as like, how many people are here and how many people and where are they allowed to be and how close is that to the courthouse? You wouldn't think that would be in dispute. It's so easy to publicly say like, they're not allowing people there and they can't get close to the courthouse and it's blocked off for blocks and blocks, and knowing that the street right next to the courthouse is big avenue. It's wide open.
If like there was a protester, an anti-Trump protester, and they threw like a tomato at him or something, he would be angry at the cops. He would be like, they're not doing their job. They're not keeping me safe. They should have shut down the whole thing.
Tomato.
Yeah, a tomato. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever.
It's
like the 1800s or whatever. But so what do you think, Devon, when you see that? You see Donald Trump going out there saying that on Tuesday morning, saying that people couldn't get there, and we just strolled right into the park there, which is like the section of the park that is specifically designated for Trump supporters, and there was 3 or 4, 5 is being generous, because I think I was just a guy who was hanging out in the park.
I think we were being too nice. I think we should have really hammered him on it and insisted on what we saw. We were part of the denial of facts there. We were willing to go to 5 when it was clearly just 4.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we'll get to this in a second.
He was just wearing a jersey. He was just wearing a jersey, a red, white, and blue jersey. I don't know that he was a Trump supporter.
I think it was
that being said, we have debated that. We have already debated that.
We've already debated. We met him more than halfway with the 5. So
what do I think about it? What was the question? What do I think about?
No, it's just. I mean, you kind of already answered the question, because it's like we were there. We saw it with our own 2 eyes. It's not like, and we've said on the podcast before, like his rallies are huge. Like they're bigger than like people on the left want to give him credit for. Like he's hugely popular in these like more rural areas.
Well, how would you kind of explain that? You're going to say it's just a different geographic area? That's why?
Yes, and also I think probably people. One, it's a weekday. Like people have jobs. They're not going to just travel there. And
what kind of people have jobs? We were there.
We were there. Yeah, I don't know. But we were working. We were working there. So There you go. But it's nice that there's been some consistency. We've been down in the courthouse twice. We've been on Monday, and then this Monday, and then the last Monday, the first day of the jury selection there. And it's nice that there was some consistency, because one person that we saw each one of these days outside the courthouse was Andrew Giuliani. And we all know Andrew Giuliani. He's the son of the guy who held a press conference at Four Seasons Total Landscaping, also lied about the election results with hair dye dripping down his face. And we're talking, of course, of Rudy Giuliani, his father.
Rudy Giuliani, American hair.
The first day we were there, Andrew Giuliani was there with Laura Loomer, yelling into a bullhorn, which I guess is what you have to do when you're hanging out with Laura Loomer. And Devram, you were kind of annoyed with how much he was yelling, I think.
It was very loud.
It was very loud.
It was very loud. It's just like, hush up a little bit.
Hush up. You wanted him to hush.
Yeah.
So you offered him a hush money payment.
Soros funded district attorney in order to bring this case.
Excuse me.
There's no underlying felony.
I'm going to give you $5 here. It's a hush money payment. If you can just leave.
Here's the deal, my friend. That has nothing to do with it, my friend. What's the idea?
Yeah, I'm giving you hush money. Hush money.
You explained it perfectly to him. And I don't know if that's what happened with.
You're being loud.
With Michael Cohen, if he came up to Stormy Daniels and was like, "I'm giving you hush money. I'm giving you hush money," if he was that clear about it, but he was there.
He should have been. It seems very clear anyway, given everything that has transpired. It seems very clear what was happening, just in my opinion. But I don't know. The thing is, first of all, it was $6. I should say. Counted it afterwards. It was $6.
Okay, so
just
interesting.
To get the facts right. Yeah.
What were you hoping there? You had the $6. You said 5 though in the video. You said 5. Why lie?
That was an accounting mistake.
Question.
It was an accounting error.
Okay.
But he was back at the park.
Error. Yeah.
It was a counting error. Accounting error.
Yes.
He was back at the park, which I think, like you said, was nice to see. There were some lack of other faces there, lack of consistency, and you were kind of happy to see him. And what was he doing when you saw him? When we saw him?
Well, I saw him. So I saw him this past Monday when you did the hush money. Then I asked questions about his dad that he refused to answer. He refused to answer if his father was the one who was sweating hair dye, and he got very angry and he started calling me funny guy.
Yeah.
And then, and he insisted on filming me, like had his buddy film with his, this is one thing I was surprised by. He has like an iPhone.
No buddies. He has no buddies.
8.
They're just
Hell,
other
no buddies
people
there.
wandering around.
But it was an iPhone that had like the button, like it was an older version of the iPhone, which I thought maybe he would have an up-to-date version of that. He's doing a lot of social media stuff, but he asked somebody to film it. And then this past Monday, I wanted to ask him about the controversy around this hush money payment that he was offered by you. Honestly, it was by you. We know that.
Sure. If we're being honest there. But still, it's worth asking about.
He did the same thing with his phone. He was like, I got to film me. I don't think he handled it great. And he insisted on having a film of it. And he refused to answer the question again, but he did call me funny guy several times. Funny guy several times. So
Yeah.
I felt like he was there just wandering the park. Like it was kind of sad.
I remember specifically. So we saw him, and then we went about our business, and we were filming a little bit, and then we looked back over, and I distinctly remember seeing the moment where I realized he was just wandering. Yeah. Like he had gone there with purpose, kind of. We said, "Oh, here he is again." Did our thing. Look over, and he was just kind of zigzagging, and I think he was totally by himself that moment that I looked over. And yeah, it kind of hit me that like he's got nowhere to be. That's the goal. Was to kind of walk around and is there anyone who wants to talk to me? He didn't leave when no one was there to talk to him. He thought, I'm gonna kind of like wander around slowly as if I have anything to do.
I did some really like hardcore sleuthing on Andrew Giuliani. Because I knew that he ran for governor, lost to Lee Zeldin in the primary by like 20 points. But I went digging on his Wikipedia page. Okay, so that should tell you how deep this goes.
You are?
Yeah. And according to his Wikipedia page, he played golf at Duke University and, quote, in February 2008, while Giuliani was a junior, he was cut from the team for breaches of discipline, which he said were minor or fabricated infractions, gunning the engine of his car as he left the parking lot, breaking a club, and throwing an apple at a teammate, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
So the first thing I think, I want to get into those things, those specifics a little more, but also I'm not sure that you cut a good player for those things, but maybe you got a guy who's not adding a lot to the team chemistry. Maybe he's not playing that well. Maybe those become reasons to cut someone.
Well, I want to say, DeVrom, you think he's not a good player. I read this paragraph and I skimmed the next couple of paragraphs. He did play like minor league professional golf for a time after this. So Andrew Giuliani, we're probably going to go back to the courthouse just to see, maybe more Trump supporters will come, maybe not. But it's good to know if we go there, we'll see our friend Andrew Giuliani, and he can hang out with some funny guys. Mm-hmm. He also insulted your bit. He was like, you should have some hundreds in there if you're going to try and pay me off.
Yeah, but then I'm not sure exactly how I phrased it, but I was like, I would have hundreds if you were
worth
a little more
hundreds.
Influential.
Yeah.
If there was a reason. So that was kind of the issue. Whenever it was Monday, I think I only had $2. So the price is dropping. So you better accept it, or it's gonna be nothing soon.
Wow. Okay, you heard it here first. As somebody had a good point that was like, it was in the New York Times wrote about it. It was funny because they wrote about it, how nobody showed up. And then they talked about Andrew Giuliani and that he just like tried to pose for pictures with people. And an anti-Trump protester was like, why are you here supporting Donald Trump? Trump is refusing to pay for your dad's legal bills.
Your dad's legal bills, right?
Which is
right.
like a very good
great
point.
question. Yeah.
Wish I'd thought of that. That would have been a better question for me to ask in the moment. Yeah.
Donald Trump is actively like refusing to pay for. I was going to call them legal services, but it'd be hard to call what Rudy did legal services. Legal disservices.
Disservices, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I got the Four Seasons, boss. Don't worry. It's like, okay.
Right. Well, you did do the work. You did have to call whoever answered the phone at the Four Seasons.
I just realized, you know the hair dye thing? Obviously, when he's sweating the hair dye. Do you think that was like a note from Donald Trump that was like, you look old. You look old. You need to like do something to like look a little younger.
Look at a guy like me who's taking care of himself. Look how golden my hair is. You need to. Like, you're making me look bad.
It. Just for men. I'll do it. I got it. So shifting gears here, this trial's going on. The first witness that was called on Monday after the opening arguments was David Pecker. He just took the stand Monday and Tuesday. And Pecker ran the National Enquirer. And the prosecution is alleging that Pecker worked with Trump to suppress unflattering stories about Trump, including tipping off Trump's fixer and lawyer, Michael Cohen, about the Stormy Daniels story. So Cohen could pay off the porn star. And that payment, of course, is the center of the whole criminal case here.
Right. And so that's not how journalism's supposed to work. So someone has a story, they reach out to press because they want to talk about a story. And instead of deciding whether or not it's factual and worth talking about, they would reach out because Donald Trump had his people out there. They would reach out to Michael Cohen, who would then offer to kind of pay the person not to talk about it.
And the interesting thing about this is there's the other stories like that Trump had fathered a child, which was found not to be true. Then there was the affair with McDougal, the Playboy playmate. And apparently Trump, the National Enquirer did a catch and kill with that story. And they were upset because Trump never paid them the money. And so that's why they didn't buy the Stormy Daniels. That was according to the New York Times.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So Trump goes around not paying bills. This is one he probably should have paid if he wanted to keep it under wraps.
It probably, it might not have ever come out, if he had just been not himself, I guess. But I want to talk about this briefly, about just setting us back in 2016. Had this story come out that's at the center of this case, had this story come out after the Access Hollywood tape or before, do you think it would have affected the 2016 election?
I have a hard time saying that it would have, or feeling strongly about saying that it would have. I can't say that it couldn't have, but the whole thing about Donald Trump is that nothing has seemed to stick. We're watching his poll numbers rise, with each indictment. And, he, as we know, won the 2016 election, even after the Access Hollywood tape. So I don't know. I would lean toward that it would not have, but I know it was a very close election, and I think a lot of people might disagree with me on that.
I do.
I said, yeah. You think it would have been a little bit of a snowball effect?
I think if you go back and you think about how things were, if that would have come out a day or two after, that could have been it. I mean, I think that could have been it for him. I'm not, I think you have some valid points that nothing has ever stopped him.
He famously, has the things that would stick to others don't, because he has, somehow gotten people to throw their moral convictions out the window when it comes to him in a way that isn't predictable. So I don't know. I'm certainly not sure, but watching, like I said, his poll numbers go up as the indictments mount makes me wonder if it would have really affected him much at all.
Yeah, I think it would have, but who knows? Yeah. It's hard to say. But let's dive into the whole National Enquirer thing. Like you said, this is not how journalism is supposed to work, basically. They did these catch and kills, and the New York Times published a story written by the guy who worked for David Pecker. And they not only did the catch and kills, but they would publish unflattering stories about his opponents, including Hillary Clinton, talking about her health issues, saying she only had months to live, things like that.
So funny
and also,
because his whole thing is like fake news, don't trust the media, and he's just like using it in such an obvious way.
Yeah, it's like if you're talking about like grocery store, supermarket tabloids, National Enquirer is a step up from like Bat Boy and the Weekly World News type of stuff. So yeah, that is like the definition of fake news. But they also, they published a story about Marco Rubio, and this is a quote from the article. Marco Rubio, or at least someone with a similar haircut, had been photographed at a, quote, man-fest foam party. So...
Marco Rubio, but we don't want to jump to conclusions. Or someone with a similar haircut. Couldn't be less specific, really, but just sure to use his name.
So he plants these stories, and the big one that we talk about at our live show, which you should come see, is the National Enquirer story that Donald Trump had planted about Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz's father. Here it is. You want to read this and describe it, DeVrum?
So yeah, we have the cover of the National Enquirer here at the top with stars on either side. World exclusive investigation. And then you have National Enquirer, the logo there. Underneath it in huge letters, Ted Cruz's father linked to JFK assassination. Huge kind of extra read all about it font there. Then there's a picture of Lee Harvey Oswald and Rafael Cruz underneath there with like the red circles just to make it look really like, you know, they've been caught here, although I'm sure this photo has existed for a long time. And then above that is a photo of the moment JFK was killed. So it's kind of like a graphic photo. And then finally, the final piece of this puzzle is Ted Cruz, the biggest figure on the cover, and his face looking like his plot has finally come to fruition. It's like he's an evil genius.
Went according to plan. I did it. Even though I wasn't born yet, I did it. I did it. Yeah.
Yes. Like he's a puppet master, and like you couldn't. It's just so evil, but like you said, it wouldn't have been born yet. But there he is. So that's the cover. Kind of a wild thing to accuse someone of, and so obviously directed at him during the 2016 campaign.
Yeah, and Michael Cohen in his book said that yes, this was all at the direction of Donald Trump, and he had a funny interview right before the book came out where he was talking about it. And I think it was Rachel Maddow was interviewing him. Says, does Ted Cruz know that? And he's like, well, he does now. Now he knows. Donald Trump did it. I think Ted Cruz probably suspected it because Donald Trump made a big deal out of a supermarket tabloid in the middle of the campaign. In the National Enquirer, Donald Trump was like known as a friend of Pecker. Also a very funny name.
Funny.
Pecker.
Funny.
Very funny. It's funny.
Love that. A friend of Pecker. Okay.
And we should note that after all this happened, Ted Cruz endorsed Donald Trump to be president. Good for him.
All the self-respect in the world right there.
Now, so we're talking about this trial. We're talking about the National Enquirer, and the listeners, the viewers, they might be wondering, what does this have to do with the Good Liars? How are you going to insert yourself into this and make this story about yourselves? And we've got news for you. We have a great way to do that. DeVrom was able to, kind of break some news, even though it's news from 2016, some breaking news maybe to Ted Cruz that he'd forgotten about at that time.
Look, I'm here today with a word of hope and a word of encouragement.
Donald Trump said that Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK.
He said that Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK. You can read about it in the paper.
Crazy,
Lee Harvey Oswald having breakfast. Now, Ted never denied that it was his father.
Hey, you can read about it in the paper.
Yeah, you should say it to my dad. That'd be even more dangerous.
Are you saying that Donald Trump is lying?
So that's some extra. I don't know.
So we kind of talked about it beforehand. We were like, we should just kind of remind people of this headline because it's so out there.
It's so damning that his dad did it.
It's so damning, right? That his father would be engaged in something like this. No, but it's so out there, like this headline and this cover and everything. And then you would kind of be forced into a corner a little bit. It's like, well, is Donald Trump lying then? Did Donald Trump lie? And with the unwavering support of so many people for Donald Trump, it kind of makes you admit that either that there's truth to this story or that Donald Trump was lying. And I think Donald Trump was probably lying.
Wow. Going to say that for the record. Well, if that wasn't enough for poor Ted Cruz, after the rally, I went up to him and asked if he would sign it because it is kind of a collector's item. And to have a Ted Cruz autograph on the cover of the National Enquirer, to me, that would be a collector's item worth millions. At least to me, it would be worth a lot, at least with sentimental value.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, Donald Trump planted a story that Ted Cruz's dad assassinated John F. Kennedy. And then a couple months later, Ted Cruz endorsed Donald Trump. So today, I'm going to ask Ted Cruz to sign this. I'm sure he won't have a problem with it. Hey, Ted, how you doing? Signature here?
Sure. No.
Why not? Why didn't you sign it? Why wouldn't you sign it?
Because I've seen your silly video.
Well, I guess Ted Cruz has watched our videos. So, Ted, will you endorse us to be president?
Did he ever respond to you? And did you ever get the endorsement? That would be a big endorsement.
Did not get the endorsement from Ted Cruz, unfortunately. And he did not respond directly to this video. But he did respond to a tweet that I put out where he called people Ivy League elites. And I said, like, oh, Ted Cruz, Yale class of whatever, Harvard class of whatever, is mad at the Ivy League elites. And then he like quote tweeted me back and was like, listen, you lying hack. I paid my student loan or like something. Right. Yeah. So he did not respond
was that
directly
shortly
to it.
before or after he put out that commercial of him just drinking beer with dudes? Just to be like, I'm regular, I'm normal. I'd have a beer with dudes. Dudes in jeans.
And now these idiots have come out and said, drink 2 beers a week. That's their guideline. Well, I got to tell you, if they want us to drink 2 beers a week, frankly, they can kiss my ass.
I miss him. It was really flattering when he said he'd seen our silly videos. And it was also really flattering when someone who worked on his campaign staff said that they loved our videos.
Oh, wait. Yeah, tell this story, Rob. Tell this story because it's very...
So we were at CPAC and someone came up to us and said, oh, I work for Ted Cruz. Like, we love your videos. Like, it's so funny. Like, keep up the good work, guys. Kind of. Like, does Ted love the videos? Like, no, he doesn't. But the eerie thing was, so, we're not sure what to make of the situation. Works for Ted Cruz. We don't know what his motives are. And as he walks away, we both look at each other like, that kid looked exactly like Ted Cruz, right?
Like he'd been spawned by Ted Cruz.
He'd been spawned, so we don't know how he gets his staff, if they're kind of like created in a lab or somehow they're made from like spores that are ejected in some sort of biological process.
Like gremlins. I think if he eats food after midnight or if he gets water on him, like it spawns more little Ted Cruzes.
Sort of a gremlins situation. Yeah. Well, that at least would explain it, right? I mean, no one else has been able to explain it. It's like, oh, it's a coincidence. Well, no, maybe it's like gremlins.
And maybe it's just like gremlins. Maybe that's where it all came from.
Yeah.
Bringing it back. Coming full circle here.
Yeah.
Back around. Trump trial. What do you expect is going to happen in this trial? I know we'll probably talk about it some more because it's such a big case. It's going to go on for 6 to 8 weeks.
Didn't he just walk outside the courtroom and say that he paid this but marked it legal expenses or something? He kind of like, as he's done so many other times, publicly admitted to the crime.
Yes. Yes. He's also been going after the judge in the courtroom.
Right,
well.
Which doesn't seem like a smart strategy, but it's a little different than actually just admitting to the crime. He basically said, like, we marked this as a legal expense, we paid it, and then marked it as a legal expense. It just is kind of shocking. He's just basically being asked to be treated differently than other people, is what it feels like. Like,
it's almost like a typical rich asshole. It's almost like he's just a typical rich asshole.
Because like
people are like, he's such a fighter. He's such a fighter, but he's like, no, he's just
I
like
don't want to play by those rules. I don't want to play by those rules.
Well, I'm going to ask another question to you. It's been we're in this now the first week of the trial now.
Mm-hmm.
We know the prosecution's what they've set out to prove. We know some of the witnesses they're going to call. If you were a juror right now, guilty or not guilty?
I would say that would not be proper for me to render a verdict this early in the case. If I was a juror, that
would probably get you kicked off of it. Yeah,
guilty.
I'm ready to vote,
not
guys.
Guilty,
I'm ready to do this.
I think I've heard enough.
He's guilty. He's guilty. That's what I would.
But you pointed out there is one juror who says they get their news from Truth Social. Is that not all you need, probably, to not get a unanimous verdict? I mean, isn't that?
I know.
I mean, also, is that person watching the Truth Social tweets? They walked into court. They probably saw that people are allowed very close to the court, that this park is designated for people who want to protest near the courthouse.
Oh,
so
that he was just
at Truth Social, and
then
like, oh, well, maybe what I saw wasn't true then.
It's like, the truth is telling me, the truth is what Donald Trump says because it's on Truth Social.
Right.
Yeah. All right, speaking of truth, let's have a moment of truth, Devon. The truth is Donald Trump really doesn't seem to care what the truth is. He lies about the police presence at the courthouse. He lies about the crowd sizes. He plants stories about his political opponents in sleazy supermarket tabloids. And at a certain point, it becomes impossible to even keep up with the layers of lies that he tells. But one thing is definitely true. Ted Cruz is pathetic for endorsing a man to be president who accused his father of killing JFK. And that is the truth.
Wow.
That
was a lot of good investigation there, a lot of great discussion, and we got to the heart of the matter.
The heart of the matter.
At the end of the day, yeah.
It would be amazing if after 8 weeks, the jury came back and they were just like,
it was like, what?
We have the verdicts, but we also need to just talk about Ted Cruz for a second.
Yeah.
This guy is so pathetic. He's so pathetic.
After knowing this, we just want to say that it's very pathetic to endorse this guy for president after he did this to you. Anyway, not guilty.
Not guilty.
I get my
you think
news
it's gonna
from
be
Truth Social.
Yeah, I know. Hung jury, not guilty. That seems like where we're heading here. All right, Devon, that's the truth of it. Thank you for joining us on this episode. If you want a special bonus episode, go to herohero.co/thegoodliars. I bit my tongue in the middle of this episode. I want to make that perfectly clear. Did not feel good. Go to herohero.co/thegoodliars for a bonus episode, ad-free episodes, and feature-length movie. Things you can't get anyplace else, and it's only $5 a month, and you'd be supporting us, and we'd love you forever for it. Also, like I said before, we've got live shows in Washington, D.C. on May 23rd, Nashville on June 6th, L.A. on June 25th. Yes, and San Francisco on June 26th. You can get tickets at goodliars.com. So, Devram, before we go, do you have any words of wisdom?
Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough.
Wow, that's actually nice. I liked that one. And that was an original from you?
That was from a friend of mine, Oprah.
Oh,
Oprah.
wow. How about that? A little bit of a name drop there. All right, thanks for joining us on The Good Liars Tell the Truth. We'll see you next time.